Skit 1, College Class 1, Orientation.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Linguistics 4500 class, Introduction to Foreign Language Education Methods. If you find that you are in the wrong classroom, this is a good time to leave. Before I go further, let me see who is taking this class. Tina Thompson?
Here.
Jessica Fowler?
Here.
I see that there are 5 people on the waiting list. I am not sure how many of you will get in at the end of the add and drop period. However, if you would really like to take this class, I recommend that you attend this class regularly. The reason is because if you would miss any requirements during the time, you will be given no opportunities to make things up. I am the 3rd on the waiting list. Do you think I have a good chance to get in? That I am not sure of, but I would say it's highly likely based on my experience in the past. Thank you, Professor. You are welcome. Now, let me present the syllabus from the website. You can find the syllabus easily from the course website by visiting the university website. Here you go. Here is the syllabus. I will present it in a multi-page form so that you can see all the pages of it on the screen. Can we have a hard copy of the syllabus? No, we don't give handouts anymore. The whole campus operates under the CLEAN policy, allowing 0 handouts. It's been a couple of years since we have operated under the policy. If you would like to have a hard copy of the syllabus, you can go online, download, and print it for yourself. Thank you. You are welcome. The syllabus is quite self-explanatory. So, I will give you about 10 minutes to take a look and ask any questions. Please go ahead and read the syllabus thoroughly and raise a hand for any questions.
I went to the campus bookstore, but I could not find a copy of the textbook. Where can I buy a copy?
Have you gone to the off-campus bookstore too?
Yes, I have. But they didn't have one either.
Initially, I ordered 20 copies of the textbook, and I thought that should be enough because I expected that some of you would purchase used books. Then, when I checked the enrollment last week, there were only 19 students. So, I didn't put in any additional orders for more textbooks.
I will check it out once again this afternoon.
Please do so, and let me know if you still don't get one. I've read the syllabus, but could you please briefly tell us about this course? Of course. In this course, you will study the various types of the traditional foreign language education methods and their respective pros and cons. You are going to read a lot of papers which I will introduce from time to time for the subject matters in addition to the textbooks, and we will have discussions on the respective topics in each class. Basically, this class has a lot more discussions rather than lectures. Of course, I will give you lectures when necessary, but keep in mind that you are the ones who will lead the class. Are we giving presentations to the class or just participating in discussions? You will be doing both. I would like to see your critical views on the subject issue, rather than simply repeating or quoting from the reading. Your comments based on personal experiences, readings, analysis, thoughts, findings, observations, and curiosity will be counted the most. There is no such thing as a trivial opinion. All opinions and comments are significant. Yet, I don't want to spend time simply repeating what is already said in the reading material. You will want to bring something of your own to the class.
What about the response papers? Do we turn in the response paper before the class or after the class?
Response papers are one of the most important homework assignments. You will write a response paper on the articles you are required to read for each class and turn it in at the end of the class.
How many pages do we have to write for the response paper?
Make it no more than 3 pages of letter size, 1.5 line space, with a font size of 12. On top of the response papers, I see other requirements for the course, such as attendance, class participation, quizzes, midterm, final, and term paper. Could you please briefly talk about them? Sure. There are a number of requirements for the course. I already spoke about the response papers. There will be 24 response papers required throughout the semester. I will count the best 22 of them. This means that I will drop the lowest 2, or you have 2 freebie response papers.
Does it mean that we can miss up to 2 response papers?
Yes, you may, but I don't recommend it. I am just giving you some room to breathe, just in case something happens beyond your control.
That will help a lot. Thanks.
Regarding the quizzes, you will have a simple quiz of 4 to 5 questions each week from the articles you read. You will have 15 quizzes, and I will count the best 13 again to give you some breathing room to catch up.
The syllabus says that we have up to 3 absences. Does it include excused absences?
Correct. Excused or not, you have up to 3 absences without penalty. After that, you will lose 20% of the attendance points per absence. Also, note that the attendance portion of the final grade is 15%. So, should you get 0 credits for attendance, the highest possible grade you can get for this course would be a B. Also, keep in mind that should you miss the class over 10 times throughout the semester, you will fail the course no matter what. Also, make sure you are not late to class, because each tardy counts as a third of an absence. Basically, 3 tardies will be equivalent to 1 absence.
So, a total of 8 absences will lose the attendance point, and a total of 13 absences will fail the course?
That's right. I don't appreciate any students who are not serious about attending the class. How do you evaluate class participation? First of all, anyone missing the class will lose the participation point of the day. So, missing the class counts double against your performance. Then, anyone who doesn't turn in the response paper will lose some points as well. Keep in mind that no late papers or homework will be accepted. No excuses for missing assignments and late homework will be accepted either. Also, points will be deducted if you come to class without your textbook or distract the class atmosphere by doing non-class related acts such as texting, working on a laptop, and reading non-class materials. Other than that, as long as you keep yourself interested in the class, you will get credits for that.
Are we going to have one midterm or two?
You can find it in the class schedule. Anyway, there will be only one midterm and one final. Also, you will be required to write a term paper with no more than 20 pages, letter size, double-spaced, and a font size of 12. What about your office hours? Thank you for reminding me. As you can see in the syllabus, I will have office hours on Tuesdays and Thursdays from 1:30 to 2:30. If you cannot make it to these hours, I will also be available for appointments.
I heard people say that you are not easy. Is that right?
Am I easy or hard? I can't tell you either way. But I can tell you one thing, that I don't like to compromise the fundamental value of the class for any reason. That may sound to you that I am a bit hard. Also, I can tell you this. The more you enjoy my class, the easier it will be for you. So endeavor to enjoy our class. One more thing. Keep in mind that there is no such thing as a stupid question. In my class, any kind of question is valuable, and no question is trivial. So don't be shy to ask a question. Don't be afraid to say, "I don't understand," if you don't. I emphasize this every time in a class orientation. Your comments and questions are the most valuable components of my class.
That sounds fair enough.
Any other questions on the syllabus and the class schedule? If not, let's talk about your interest in the class for the remaining time. Why are you taking this class? I am taking this class because I am interested in learning a foreign language for myself. I assume that you don't speak any language other than English, right? Right. I learned French in high school for 4 years, and I believe I understand French grammar quite well. However, I don't speak French. You believe that you know French pretty well, but you don't speak French. It's very interesting, isn't it? Yes, I can force myself to say something in French, but I am not sure if I am saying it right or wrong. I hope you will find the answer from this course. I really hope so. I will be very happy to find out what it is.
I am interested in this class because I want to know why foreign language education is so difficult.
What do you mean by foreign language education being so difficult?
I mean why people don't speak the foreign languages which they study for many years.
I see what you mean. That's a very interesting question. I am sure we will have many opportunities to talk about your question during the semester.
Honestly, I don't know anything about foreign language education. I enrolled in this class because I was curious about the course.
I like your honest comment. I hope this class will satisfy your curiosity. As a matter of fact, there are many fundamental issues related to foreign language education which have been misunderstood for a long time. What's your major, by the way?
I am majoring in psychology.
Well, I believe you can contribute a lot to this class in terms of the decision-making trends in selecting the foreign language education methods.
I am looking forward to that, Professor.
Sure. Now, let me tell you that there are numerous kinds of foreign language education methods known to the world. Then think about this. Why do you think there are so many different kinds of methods to teach foreign languages?
You got me. I've never thought about it. I guess it's because there are so many different languages.
That's a very interesting thought. I like it very much, though. Language variety requires a variety of teaching methods. I've never thought of that, but it sounds quite plausible, doesn't it?
It sounds awkward that we need to apply different methods for different languages.
That's not what I'm getting from Tina's answer. What I am thinking right now is if there is a method which works better for a particular type of language.
I think the reason is because we have undergone trial and error.
I see your point. It makes good sense. I am sure that we will talk about it. Maybe we need specialized methods for different areas of the language? Can you give us some examples? Like when we teach reading to the students versus when we teach writing to the students. Also, when we teach listening comprehension to students, it should be different from the method of teaching how to write. That also sounds like a very thoughtful analysis. Very interesting. What do you think about Tom's response, Tina?
I like it very much. It seems obvious that different methods are required for teaching different areas of language. You can't teach listening comprehension by asking students to keep writing. This is getting really complicated. I am already getting confused.
Well, we've got very interesting responses to the question, why are there so many foreign language education methods? We will deal with all of your responses throughout the semester, hoping that we will find a conclusive answer.
Why do you think there are so many different methods, Professor?
I will say it's either all of the above or none of the above.
I don't think that makes sense, Professor.
You think so? We will talk about it as well. Now, let me briefly introduce the main textbook and the author before we call it a day. As you already know, the title of the textbook is Thoughts on Foreign Language Education, Introduction to the Babble Training Method. The name of the author is Chul Bum Lee. He goes by Charles Lee as well. The reason I chose this textbook is because it covers the topics of foreign language education thoroughly. The author, Lee, presents questions to us which make us think carefully and seriously. The book reveals the depth of the author's thought and experience on foreign language education as well as on language acquisition. The author introduces a series of working hypotheses which you can apply to find out objective answers to numerous questions regarding foreign language education methods.
Professor, are you saying that this book contains the answer to the mystery question? Why there are so many kinds of foreign language education methods?
Yes, you will find the answer from the book. The author maintains an objective stance when talking about his theories.
Do you know the author?
Yes, I do. I've met him a couple of times. He's a very nice Oriental man. He has developed a unique foreign language teaching method called BTM, which stands for Babble Training Method. Babble, or babbling, is the key word for his foreign language education method. He proclaims that language can't be acquired without the babble process. He founded an online foreign language education school called BTM School. He strongly believes that languages can be acquired in only one way, and that one way is through immersion. However, his concept of immersion is a little bit different from the typical one. When he talks about immersion, he actually means immersion into babbling. He argues that students can be immersed into foreign languages through BTM without having to move to the country of the language. Therefore, according to him, students do not have to move to the country of the language to be immersed into the language. Well, time's up. So much for today. Do we have homework today? Please look at the syllabus and the class schedule. You will find everything you need for this class. You may want to keep a hard copy of the syllabus and class schedule with you.
Skit 2, College Class 2.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning. Sorry I'm late. I was in my office reading a very interesting paper on how dogs communicate with their owners, and I didn't notice that it was already 9 o'clock.
That sounds very interesting. I am always amazed to see those smart dogs understanding their owners very well. Can I borrow the paper after you finish reading?
Sure. I will bring it next time to you. Okay, today we will talk about the articles in Chapter 4. The first article is on linguistic distance, which I like very much. I will open the floor for discussion.
I was very excited to read this article. The concept of linguistic distance was absolutely remarkable. Especially, it's amazing that Lee clearly showed the linguistic distance between two languages differs depending on the direction of measurement. I am more familiar with such terms as family languages, relative languages, and neighbor languages. As far as I know, these are terms used to denote the similarities or differences among the languages. However, these terms really do not tell you detailed ideas of how two languages are close to each other in terms of linguistic features. By introducing the concept of linguistic distance, which digitalizes the similarities and differences among the languages, Lee, I believe, has opened a door to new research to define the relationship of languages. We now need to draw the language map of the world again.
Jessica made a very good point that the linguistic distance concept opened a door for research on restructuring the language relationship, which would require drawing a new language relationship map of the world.
I felt the same way as Jessica in many aspects. I also thought about the feasibility of the concept actually being applied to foreign language education. That is, what impact would the concept of linguistic distance bring on the foreign language education methods which have been deployed so far?
That's an impressive thought. We indeed need to think about it. Why don't we talk about it now? Let's say there are two languages, language A and language B, whose linguistic distance score from A to B is 35. Also, let's use Lee's measurement of the linguistic distance from Korean to English, which shows 149 as the distance. Here, what kind of impact would you expect in terms of teaching the target language? So, when the distance score is small, it means that the two languages are more similar to each other, sharing more common features, right? You got that right. I guess we would need to teach much more English grammar to Korean people who want to learn English compared to those A language speakers who want to learn language B. That way, Korean people would be able to know more about the linguistic differences between Korean and English and overcome the differences. On the other hand, for those who learn language B, we would not need to teach the grammar of language B because the language A speakers would know pretty much of it.
I don't agree with Tom because your statement assumes that people need to know grammar of the target language to learn it. Also, the linguistic distance is not only about the grammatical differences, it includes sound features as well as lexical features. I don't know much about foreign language education. However, Tom said at the very first class that he studied French for 4 years, and he knows French grammar very well, yet he doesn't speak French. Also, I think the linguistic distance between English and French probably is not so great as that of between Korean and English, even though I don't know Korean at all. What I'm trying to say is that if Tom can't speak French well after 4 years of studying French grammar, I think additional grammar teaching may not be effective. So I guess I agree with Tina.
Whether we should teach more English grammar to Korean students or not, we may not know for sure at this time. However, you need to think about how Lee approaches foreign language education. I am sure that he is familiar with the effects of teaching grammar to students, as well as teaching other categories. In other words, he who is on top of those contemporary foreign language education methods has developed a new method called Babble Training Method. Then there must be a powerful reason for him to do so. I don't think he would recommend increasing grammar education when the linguistic distance score comes out high. I believe we will soon be able to find out the right answer to the question.
One thing I wanted to point out on the linguistic distance is that the method to measure the distance needs to be more systematized. Also, the data introduced in the article doesn't seem to be persuasive enough. It needs more data on various language sets with a focus on a particular language like English to Korean, English to French, English to Chinese, English to Japanese, English to Russian, English to Spanish, etc. This will present the concept of linguistic distance in a more comprehensible manner.
I agree with you. The system to measure linguistic distance definitely needs a lot more work to be persuasive. It would require many linguists of those languages to work together. Also, the criteria for each of the categories needs to be trimmed better. Yet, the idea of linguistic distance is very original and gives us a fresh impact.
I can't wait to see a map showing the linguistic distances of the world languages. I can't imagine how it would look, but I believe it would be really something.
I know there are some other issues we didn't talk about with respect to the linguistic distance theory. However, I think we did a pretty good job discussing the gist of it. Now, let's move on to the next topic, which is the working hypothesis on language acquisition. What do you think about the hypothesis? What's the use of this hypothesis? What's your critical view on the hypothesis? What do you want to add or leave out? Now, the floor is open for discussion.
I like the way the author defined the concept of acquisition. He clearly distinguishes acquisition from language skill development. Before I read this article, I didn't even think about distinguishing the two concepts. I noticed that the author is very careful and sensitive to the languages.
Good point. Why do you think that the author distinguishes the two concepts?
I thought about it also. I believe it's because he wanted to set a clear borderline between the acquisition and development of linguistic proficiency. He also argues that language education initially should focus on acquisition and then move on to developing proficiency.
I thought he did that out of the necessity to make a clear definition that language acquisition does not mean the achievement of the complete level of communication skills, but the achievement of the foundational level of such skills.
Based on what Tom said, the initial purpose of language education should be the achievement of the foundational level of communication skills, which I think makes good sense.
You all made good points. I agree with what all of you said. Then, how do you define the foundational level of communication skills? Lee defines the acquisition as the achievement of linguistic proficiency to the degree of such proficiency, demonstrated by the typical children of 36 to 40 months old, in the natural language acquisition environment. So, foundational level of communication skills is the equivalent level of proficiency achieved by those children of such ages.
Actually, Lee defines the concept of acquisition in terms of acquiring three acquisition factors, like linguistic intuition, physical capacity, and linguistic resources. Without acquiring these three factors, he believes that acquisition would not take place. So, acquisition in this context can be interpreted as the acquisition of these three acquisition factors to the level as shown by the typical 36 to 40-month-old child. Another interesting thing, Lee claims that one's maximum oral proficiency of a language is limited by one's weakest factor of the three. So, if one somehow has acquired the highest levels of linguistic intuition and the linguistic resources, but very poor level of physical capacity of a language, his or her oral proficiency of the language should be very poor as well. This was a very surprising finding for me. I don't mean to be disrespectful. However, honestly, I was very confused about the acquisition factors and his claim on one's maximum oral proficiency as well. It's not clear to me. I had a very hard time understanding them. Even though Lee clarifies the concept of linguistic intuition as opposed to linguistic knowledge, I have no idea what he is talking about. I feel like I am in the wrong place. Am I?
No, you are not. Don't worry. Some of the terms may not make sense to you, as you don't have the backgrounds of linguistics, as most of us do here. Also, some of those concepts are confusing even to us. Especially, Lee created many of those terminologies by himself, which are new to us. So, don't be frustrated. Speaking of the difference between the linguistic intuition versus linguistic knowledge, I believe you can safely take it as feeling versus knowing. When you command a language with your feeling, it's intuition-based. But when you command a language with your knowledge of grammar, on the other hand, that's knowledge-based. Lee put this in a very sophisticated way, but I believe this is what he really means. Does this help you, Jessica?
Sure, it does. Thank you. And what about physical capacity? What does it mean? Why is he talking about it? What's the point of it? I don't see how it relates to language or language acquisition.
That's a really good question. First, physical capacity in this article refers to the skills to operate the body parts, or the speech organs, to articulate the sound of a language. The fact that Lee counted the physical capacity factor as one of the must-do factors in language acquisition makes him really distinguished among those language education method developers. Almost all language educators think of language education in terms of teaching grammar, vocabulary, reading, and listening skills. There are some people who focus on teaching speaking skills also. However, none of them seem to understand how important it is and what it takes to acquire the physical capacity to perform a language. Just like you and many of us here, they don't see how physical capacity is related to language acquisition. Most of them have seen language acquisition just in terms of grammatical knowledge and vocabulary only. However, Lee proclaims that a language cannot be acquired without the physical capacity acquired to perform the language. It's just like one cannot play baseball without acquiring the physical capacity to control the ball. In other words, the physical capacity required to command a language does not come by itself when you study areas such as grammar, reading, writing, and listening to a language. You cannot take physical capacity for granted when learning a language. You have to endeavor to acquire it, and it does take a consistent endeavor over a long time. Otherwise, one shall fail in the end. That's the message Lee tries to convey.
Thank you very much. It helps me greatly. Now I feel like I am catching up. I should thank Jessica for the questions. Thanks to your questions, I learned a lot. Thanks, Jessica. You are welcome. I am glad that I raised the questions.
Same here. Thanks, Jessica. I think the formula is great. However, that formula contains a fundamental issue of how to measure the percent ratios of the factors. There is no set of criteria or guidance to properly measure the percent ratios for these three factors. In this sense, Lee's arguments need to be supplemented quite a bit.
That's a good point. I agree with you. I think the theory is quite abstract, in that it does not really provide a definite way to apply the formula. However, I believe the real value of the formula is not to calculate the value of one's acquisition level, but rather to give a general idea of showing the fundamental factors which have to be counted in language education. At least it shows that no acquisition takes place if one acquires 0% of the required physical capacity to perform the language. For example, I agree with Tina. Language educators can refer to the formula when they develop their curriculums. Professor, I have a question for you. You earlier mentioned grammar a couple of times while talking about the acquisition factors. However, when I read the theory, or the acquisition hypothesis, and looked at the acquisition factors, Lee talks nowhere about grammar. Why doesn't he talk about grammar? What's grammar to this theory? I became very curious about this.
Great question. That's another issue that makes him distinguished from other language educators, who always emphasize grammar as a basic requirement for language learning. Even though he does not talk about grammar here, he does talk about grammar in other places, yet he is against it. He is strongly against grammar education during the acquisition period. So, the fact that he didn't count grammar in his hypothesis simply means that grammar is not needed for acquisition. As a matter of fact, he strongly argues that grammar education during the acquisition process will work against that process. I understand that this is hard to believe for most of us. At this time, there are no scientific studies to support Lee's arguments. However, if you observe the relationship between the grammar teaching and the result carefully, you can find evidence that really supports his arguments. I guess I am a witness here. I studied mostly French grammar for 4 years during high school, and yet I have not picked up French.
No offense to you, But were you a good student in the French class?
I will tell you what, I aced all French classes throughout high school. I can read French pretty well, but it's very hard to say anything in French.
That's interesting. I learned Japanese for 2 years in high school, and I aced it also. But I don't speak Japanese either. I can read some Japanese, but that's about it.
Wow. Why don't we try to find out what's wrong with you guys in terms of the acquisition hypothesis? So, Tom, what do you think your acquisition levels of linguistic intuition, physical capacity, and linguistic resources for the French you learned are? Well, I think I have quite a good feeling for French, as French and English are Western languages. Learning French, I was able to confirm many similarities in vocabularies. In terms of the physical capacity, I believe I can read French out loud pretty well. Finally, in terms of linguistic resources, we learned quite a lot of vocab from reading books.
You seem to satisfy the acquisition theory pretty well. So what's wrong with your French?
I don't know. I just can't put words together to say something I want to say. Also, when I do put words together, I can't be sure if that's really how they say it. I also stop and stumble a lot when I try to say something. It's really different from when you read off the book. It sounds like you pretty much have linguistic intuition in French. However, as you said, stopping and stumbling tells that you need to acquire more of the physical capacity. I think the biggest issue with your French is in the linguistic resources. You said you learned a lot of vocabulary from reading books. However, you don't seem to have acquired many practical expressions which you can use. If you did, you can use them as is, or with minimal changes without having to create, by putting words together according to the rules of grammar.
What about you, Tina? I am not confident speaking in Japanese. The Japanese grammar is so different from the English grammar, and it is very hard to learn. Sound-wise, I felt that Japanese has quite a simple sound system compared to English. Yet, it does not necessarily mean that it's easy. Speaking of the linguistic resources, I didn't learn much of the Japanese vocabulary, and I forgot most of it anyway. So, I can't really speak Japanese. No wonder.
Well, what a hot discussion. We don't have much time remaining. Let's try to cover Lee's working hypotheses on foreign language education as much as we can in the remaining time. As you can see from reading the articles, the hypothesis serves at the very foundation of Lee's BTM theory. Therefore, should any of the hypotheses be found to lack truth, it would definitely hurt Lee's BTM theory. What did you find about Lee's hypotheses on input and output? Among others, I was deeply impressed with Lee's hypothesis on individual linguistic resistance. Lee defines individual linguistic resistance as the degree of one's physical and cognitive unfitness to process the input, which deters the production of output. Per the factors, which impact on one's linguistic resistance, Lee points out the linguistic distance between the two languages along with the age of the individual learner. This hypothesis gave me answers to a lot of my questions on language learning.
I agree with Tom. It also helped me with understanding why young people pick up a language better than old people. The concept of individual linguistic resistance represents all the phenomena people experience as they get old both physically and mentally. It really explains the relationship between one's age and language learning better than other theories I know of, like the puberty theory and the magnet theory. Not only that, Lee kindly shows us how to reduce such linguistic resistance, which I think is amazing.
What does he say about how to reduce the resistance?
Basically, he says that repeated practice to produce output will reduce it. By repeated practice, I believe he means babbling.
That is right. Lee believes in the magic of babbling in language learning. Any issues you can think of with the hypothesis? Not a significant one, but again, the concept is clearly defined, but there is really no way to measure one's linguistic resistance. As the hypothesis denotes, it's about individual level of both mental and physical unfitness. Therefore, you really cannot generalize the degree of linguistic resistance for learners in general. For example, the puberty theory shows generalized information on the ideal age to start foreign language learning.
Even though the puberty theory has been somewhat proven to be persuasive by some research, it really does not give an idea to the question of what makes the puberty age become such a milestone in language acquisition. On the other hand, the linguistic resistance hypothesis gives an answer to a question of why young learners pick it up better. Consequently, according to the hypothesis, one should immerse into repeated Babble training to overcome the resistance and acquire the target language.
That's a good point. Also, Tom's comment on the idea of generalized information was also very valuable. Now, let's move to another hypothesis. Does anyone have comments or critiques on any of them?
I want to talk about hypothesis number 4, which talks about the most effective kinds of input. According to what it says, the input should be practical, simple, necessary, and understandable to the learner. Obviously, Lee is suggesting that the text materials for learners should be selected based on such criteria. I kind of doubt there are textbooks meeting those criteria. Professor, what do you think about using materials such as American movies or dramas?
I understand that there are many people who use such kinds of materials to study English. Those kinds of materials are also called authentic materials. There are a lot of discussions on whether using authentic materials for language learners is effective or not.
Excuse me, Professor. What is authentic material?
Oh, authentic material means any types of materials which are developed or produced for the native speakers, not for the language learners. For example, movies, books, radio talk shows, TV dramas, flyers, newspapers, advertisement materials, and so on, which are consumed by native speakers.
So, even if they are produced originally for the native speakers, they can be non-authentic materials if they would be edited and reproduced for language learners?
Then, I believe they can be considered as non-authentic materials in a way.
However, you can edit them only so much that you can't completely overcome the authenticity, right?
That's a really good point. So, the question is whether you can completely de-authenticate such authentic materials.
It sounds like you assume that authentic materials are not effective for language learners. Is that right?
No, I don't. If I sounded like that, I apologize. I didn't mean to take any position on that issue.
Can I ask you for your personal opinion on that issue, Professor?
Sure. Personally, I believe authentic materials may not be the best materials for language learners. Those materials are intended for native speakers with special purposes other than simple and easy communication. So, even if those materials would be edited and reproduced for language learners, the essence of the materials would not be completely removed.
My question to you, Professor, is how Lee's hypothesis on the most effective input relates to the authentic material issue.
That's a really good question. Let's think about it. What do you think is the relationship between Lee's hypothesis on the most effective input and the authentic material approach? Well, now that I think about it, it seems that the hypothesis offers a set of independent criteria for picking up or producing study materials for the language learners.
I don't think I get it. Could you be more specific on the set of independent criteria?
Sure. Lee's hypothesis is not in either approval or disapproval with respect to the types of study materials for language learners. Instead, it simply tells everybody what the study materials should look like. Whether they are authentic or non-authentic is not an issue to Lee. The real issue to Lee is whether the study materials are practical, wanted, simple, and understandable to the students or not.
Now I see. Still, I think the hypothesis is more of non-authentic materials.
Why do you think so?
The fact that authentic materials are intended for native speakers means that they are more realistic to the native speaker by nature. Therefore, no matter how much they would be edited and reproduced, the nature of the materials cannot be changed. Consequently, chances are that they are not practical to the language learners. Also, chances are that they are not the ones which students would want so badly.
You made a great point. Also, Tom did a nice job of defining the relationship of the two topics. I really like Tom's thought that Lee's hypothesis serves as a set of independent criteria for choosing the most effective input. Also, Tina's comment on the authentic materials which are intended for native speakers by nature points out the fundamental issue of such materials very well.
So, based on Lee's hypothesis, I guess the best study materials for language learners would be the ones which are designed to satisfy the necessities of language learners in a simple and easy-to-learn mode, right?
I believe it would be safe to say that. As a matter of fact, I know Lee has been writing a series of scenarios designed for language learners for many years. He once told me in a meeting that he was working on building the database for such scenarios, and he would use them as textbooks for BTM school. It would be very interesting to see the textbooks he developed by himself based on his own hypothesis. Well, it seems that we have time to talk about one more of the hypotheses. What do you want to talk about for the remaining time? I want to talk about the hypothesis on the proficiency level, which reads that one's proficiency level depends on the quality, quantity, and the practicality of the retained outputs. This hypothesis exactly points out the causes for the problem with my French oral proficiency. It tells me why I have no oral proficiency in French. First of all, I have almost no outputs or ability for oral proficiency retained in me, let alone the quality, quantity, and the practicality. Even if there is something that I retain from the French class, they really have nothing to do with the oral proficiency.
What do you mean by that? I don't get it.
Well, the outputs I have retained throughout my high school French classes are the grammar, vocabulary, and stuff like the stories of the French movies that we watched.
Well, didn't you say that you can read French quite well, though?
Right. I believe I have a high level of reading and grammar proficiency in French. I also have a decent level of listening proficiency in French. However, what I'm saying is that I have almost zero oral proficiency in French.
So what you are saying is that your high level of proficiency in grammar and reading and the decent level of listening skills in French do not lead you to boosting up the oral proficiency, right?
Exactly. And again, Lee's hypothesis on the relationship between input and output explains why it doesn't boost up my oral proficiency.
In other words, the French program at your high school didn't offer inputs for oral proficiency. That's why, right?
Exactly. No input, no output. This is what Lee is telling us.
And I believe that Lee's other hypothesis, which says there is no mutation between input and output, also points out your problem as well.
Yes, I guess I am living proof of Lee's hypotheses on language education. Well, I am sure you are not the only one alive who proves Lee's working hypothesis on foreign language education to be worthy for more research. Actually, I have read numerous testimonials from people who studied English over 10 years or even 20 years, but cannot speak English at all. I also have met many students with amazing scores on TOEFL whose oral proficiency in English is yet surprisingly poor. It is obvious that Lee's hypotheses on foreign language education offer us good hints for answers on such questions as to where we have to look to resolve such inefficient issues of foreign language education. We've pretty much covered all of Lee's hypotheses on foreign language education. A couple of them we touched on during the discussion. Also, there are a couple of others which we didn't reach. I will leave those for you to review as we are running out of time. So, that will do it for today. Let me collect your response papers. Make sure you put your name and today's date on it. Please bring or pass it around to the front. I will have an office hour today from 2 o'clock to 3 o'clock this afternoon. Should you have any questions, you can come to my office during that time. I will see you next time. Class is dismissed.
Professor, can I bring it to you this afternoon during the office hour? I finished it this morning, but my printer ran out of toner, so I could not print it.
Sorry to hear that. However, I can't accept it as I made it clear that no late papers or homework would be accepted. That's part of the reason that I gave everyone 2 freebies. Can I make an appointment with you? I can't come during your office hour because it conflicts with my work schedule. Sure. When would you like to come? I always work in the afternoons, and I'm only available in the mornings, like 8 o'clock. Okay, how about tomorrow morning at 8? That's perfect for me, thank you. You are welcome. See you tomorrow.
Skit 3. College Students. Talking about majors. Hey, Julie. Hey, girl. What's going on? Just finishing my reading for Professor Newman's class. I thought I'd never finish it in time. You're not kidding. I didn't think profs were allowed to give us longer assignments than we could actually complete in one night. He's notorious for those kinds of assignments. I think if I had known that 2 years ago, I would have thought twice about my majoring in psychology. Have you picked a major yet? Really? You mean this wasn't just a one-time thing? I thought he was just being tough on us because of the 3-day weekend. It took me hours to finish the reading last night. I mean, really finish it. I could have breezed through without really getting it, just to say I'd read the pages, but to actually understand the assignment and be able to pass one of his pop quizzes. I know. I so feel your pain. I mean, I don't actually have to declare my major until spring, but wow, it's not like you cannot take classes from Newman. He's kind of a staple of the department. Well, the good news is you get used to it. Do you get used to not sleeping too?
Both girls laugh.
No, but seriously, I think I should have invested in Starbucks. So are you still figuring out your major? Yeah, technically. I mean, I am pretty sure it's psych. That is what I've always wanted to major in. But I really dig my women's studies classes also. When did you decide? At the last minute? When else? Psych, right? What else? Yeah, I'm probably headed in that direction. It's just, I don't want to have any regrets, you know? Oh, sweetie, you will have regrets if you major in psychology or not.
Both laugh.
Hey, Jules, where do you live? In the North Dorms? Oh, yeah, I mean, where did you come from before school? Oh, my home is in Colorado. Oh, really? Hey, that's funny. I'm from California. There aren't many of us Westerners around here, are there? You can say that again. I was asking because I know Professor Newman hires students to work as interns in his lab over the summer. I mean, students that don't go home for the summer. If you stick around and do that, sometimes it's a great opportunity to get an in with him. Oh, yeah? Yeah. Erin, that girl who always sits like right there in Professor Newman's lap practically, like right up front, she did it last summer. I think it's why they're such best buds now. Plus, I think it's why she always seems to know just the right time to raise her hand in class to get his attention. Do you know if it is open to all students or anything? I'm pretty sure, but don't quote me on that. I was planning to go home for the summer, but I'd think about staying here for the right reason, I guess. Have you ever stayed on campus? Me? Oh, no. I have a boyfriend back home. Besides, I don't work with Newman. I am a psychology major, but I work with Professor Rescorla. How did you choose? Mostly based on the internship. When I was a sophomore, Newman wasn't hiring for his lab and Rescorla was. I ended up working with her in the fall, and it just worked out that I could continue the work without having to stay over the summer. But you should ask the department secretary. She can give you more details about applying. Besides, if you apply this early in the year, you might be the only applicant. You could be a shoo-in. It could make these long reading assignments more tolerable, if you know what I mean. Geez, Sarah, I really appreciate the suggestion. I will look into it today. It's so funny how much more serious things seem to get in college. I mean, don't get me wrong. I worked hard in high school, but man, it seems like it's all about my future now. Yeah, decisions now seem to have more weight. Yeah, it's like I am not just choosing a class, but choosing a life. You only thought it was about Professor Newman. If only I really knew. Did your high school even offer psychology? No, mine didn't. But I went to a really small rural high school. It's no surprise that it didn't. I've met so many people around here who took these crazy classes out there. My high school offered the basics: English, history, math, and science. We were lucky to get PE. Some of these girls have taken half of their college prereqs already. I mean, I never had a chance to take creative writing, or Introduction to Film Studies, or Calculus 2, or Psychology 1, or Anthropology in high school. It's not like I went to school in the sticks or anything, but we just didn't have those choices. Yeah, I thought that was a California thing. No, I think that it is a private school thing. Half of the people we're in school with now went to some super exclusive college preparatory private high school. Coming from a public school, especially a rural one, makes us a minority. Go rural public Western high schools. So did you ever actually get the reading done? No, you goof, you interrupted me. Oh, shoot, right. Well, I leave you for the last 15 minutes so you can cram it in. Besides, I went to go grill the secretary for some info about the internship with Newman. You go, girl. Hey, Thanks so much for mentioning it, Sarah. No problem. Listen, Jules, if you want, wait for me out in the hall after class, and let's exchange numbers. I can always use a great study partner. I totally will. You rock, sister. See you after class.
Class lets out. Students are spilling out of two doorways. Sarah and Julie both glance around for each other and then make eye contact.
Hey, lady. So what'd you think? Oh my gosh, that was one of the easiest quizzes he's given us. I totally flew through it. You? Yeah, me too. I was worried because I only skimmed the end of the reading. I spent so much time shooting the stuff with you. Oh no, girl, that was so my fault. I feel bad for that. No, really, no worries. I think I did fine on the quiz. Besides, I wanted to talk. I hope we can get together and study. Yeah, totally, me too. Hey, I did talk to the psych secretary, and she told me where to go online to find all the info about the internship. So now I owe you big time. Not at all. You can just help me get this stuff about Dr. Skinner and behaviorism down, and we'll be even. Deal. I mean, if I can figure it out myself. Hey, what are you doing tonight? I don't know. I don't really have anything big happening. The girls on my hall are thinking about walking down to the 7th door. You know that pub down the street? I've never been, but I hear it is sick. It's kind of a live bar. I've been there a handful of times. If you want to stop by my quad before you head that way, my roommates and I are having a little gathering. It's nothing special, not even a party. I think we're just expecting a few people, but most of the girls coming are psych majors. It'd be a really great chance for you to meet some of the other ladies in our department. I know a bunch of them struggled to pick their major also. In fact, my friend Eve will be there. She was a history major until almost the end of her sophomore year, when she had an awakening. She switched things up. I think she is really glad she did. She wants to go on and get her PhD in counseling. Another old friend of mine will be there who worked with Newman last summer, said she'd stop by. You should totally come. Yeah? I would love to. I don't think we're headed to the door until 10:30 or later. You know how it is. I could use some advice about making this decision. I keep thinking psychology is my passion. But what am I going to do with it out there, in the real world? My parents think it is a joke. My dad, of course, thinks I should be pre-med or pre-law or something like that. Whose dad doesn't? Ha ha ha. But seriously, what if he has a point? Like your friend, the one who wants to go to grad school. You kind of have to if you choose psych. It's not like you leave college and go out there and start making a living. I mean, if you really want a career in this field, you have to work your behind off, get great grades here, write a stellar thesis, do something truly meaningful, and then go on to a top-notch graduate school. I feel like it's the high school rat race all over again. I thought I was through with that. And you think if you decide to go to medical school or law school, it will be any easier? Oh my gosh, of course not. I guess I hadn't thought about that. And you say your true passion is psychology? If that is true and you are truly passionate about this field, then I would think really your best chance of doing those things you say, getting great grades, doing something exceptional as an undergrad, getting into the research pool here, all that stuff, would be easiest in psychology rather than in pre-law. I mean, how are you going to really do something meaningful in a field you are going into just because you think your parents want you to? You make good points. So what about you? How did you make the decision? Oh, I went through the same process you are going through. I started out taking a whole bunch of different classes. I took English, math, science, art, and history. I loved my art class, but not enough to make a career out of it. I barely scraped by in math and science. I mean, I could learn the stuff, but it wasn't intuitive. Then I tried psychology. Bam! There it was. It was like I had seen the light. But of course, I thought about my parents. I thought about what they would think. I thought about what I would do for a living. I thought about what would happen in 4 years when I finished here. I went through just exactly what you are going through. And I thought about some other things you aren't mentioning either. I liked some of the guys in my department. My last boyfriend sat 2 rows behind me in my Intro to Psych class my freshman year. Don't deny it, we think about those things. And he was hot, Mama. Too bad we broke up. So you should come tonight and schmooze with us. Talk to some other girls who have been in your position and have had to choose. Okay. I think you may have sold me. I'll check with my boyfriend, who, by the way, is a history major. So, is history on the table? Yes. Ha 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 ha. Anyway, I'll check with my boyfriend and my suite mates and find out what the scoop is for tonight, and then I'll give you a shout out. I can reach you by campus email, right? Oh, yeah, of course. I am on email all the time. Do you want my phone number also? That way you can text me too. Yeah, sure, that'd work.
The girls exchange numbers.
Okay, little sister. I expect to hear from you later this evening. Oh, what time are you getting started? I'm guessing 8-ish. Can you make that? I'll let you know. All right. Like I said, I'll expect to hear from you later on then. If not, I'll just assume that you and the boyfriend are committing to the history ship. Ha. Ha yourself. I'll let you know for sure later. I really appreciate the offer. I just want to be sure I can get all my work done and he hasn't got something else planned for us tonight. Yeah, I get it. Okay then, talk to you later. Talk to you later. Skit 4. College Students on Club Events. BTM University is putting on a high school soccer tournament for local teams, with a Challenger Soccer mini-event, which is aimed at teaching disabled children the basics of soccer.
Hey guys, hope everyone's doing well. I really appreciate you guys coming tonight. As this is the last meeting we have to plan out everything for the high school soccer tournament, I hope you all plan to be here for the full 2 hours. Dude, Nate just sent me a text saying he's still in class, but he'll be here in about a half hour. Yeah, he let me know earlier. We'll save his part till he joins us. Sounds good. So let's get this party started. What's on tap first? Jenny, do you want to go over the tentative schedule for the day?
Yeah, for sure. So the date is finally set for the 25th of May, which is a Saturday. We're going to need all of you to be at the fields at 7 a.m. to start setting up the nets and chalking the fields.
7 a.m.? That early?
Get over it, it's only one day. Cover up your hangover and put your game face on because there will be kids and parents all over the place.
Guys, let's try and stay on topic. We have a lot to go through tonight.
Okay, so we will all be there to help set up the field. Logan, you're going to set up the merchandise tent. Each of the teams there will have their own little section. Take some of the freshmen and get them to help you out.
All right, how many people will I have to work with? Do you want one of us per team selling their merchandise? Or will they have anybody there selling their own stuff? Many of the teams will have a representative there selling their own stuff. However, they will need us to make sure things are running smoothly and to answer questions about the university. The merchandise tent is also the information tent for people who have questions about BTM University. There are 15 teams that will be here selling merchandise, so I think we will need 5 or 6 of our people running that tent. Okay, no problem.
All right, so when we get there at 7, you need to find those people and set up the informational tent. So around 7:15, the teams will start coming up, and Logan, you and your team will help direct them to their spots and lend them a hand.
Great. We will also need a crew to start chalking the fields, putting the goals in place, and putting the nets in place.
Would you mind taking charge of that, Kevin?
No, that's fine. I'll just tell them what to do the first time and let them do it for all the fields.
Great. So since this is the first year we've done this, we're not sure how long that all will take. However, we're going to give it 2 hours. That will give all the teams long enough to arrive between 7 a.m. and 8 a.m. and set up their own individual tents.
Do we have someone there who will be directing the teams to their spaces? Or will they just set up wherever there is some free space?
Yeah, if they ask, we can direct them more to the center, where there is space between the fields. But we really don't care where they choose to set up.
Okay, cool.
All right. So 9 a.m. is when the first round of games is scheduled to begin. We have 5 fields and all of them will be used. Once the teams start getting eliminated throughout the day, we will have the bigger games being played in the center fields. But for this first round, where the teams play will be chosen at random. Kevin, do you know if we will have announcers for the games?
We have one central sound system with a microphone and speakers, which will also be set up at 7 when we get there, by the way. So, we will just rotate through announcing the scores, where each team is playing, important information, stuff like that. We should make a schedule of who is in charge of the microphone and at what times. Yeah, that's a good idea. We'll come up with that on the day. Just put someone there for an hour at a time and rotate through 3 people. Boom, problem solved. Cool.
So, that first round, we will have 60-minute matches. The first 10 teams will play at 9, and the remaining teams will play immediately after that game ends. We are hoping at 10:10 that we will be able to start.
Logan, for each of those matches, we will need one of our players to be the field master. That means that it is their responsibility to inform the teams on what time the games will start and what field they will be playing on. I imagine you can use the same 5 guys from the information tent to do that. If I use the same guys, then who will be running the info and merchandise tent while the games are going on? Shouldn't we have someone there? Yeah, that's a good point. Although we don't need everybody there. We should leave probably 2 people back at the tent. Anyone else is up for grabs. Okay. It is also the field master's job to inform the referee when their games start and what field they will be on. All this information will be posted at the information tent, but they need to make sure that everyone is in the loop. Okay, no problem. I'll pick some dudes and let them know what they need to do.
All right. So the first round of games will end at 10 o'clock. The second will begin at 10:10 and end around 11:20. We know that it is pretty unrealistic that it will be that exact, so we will realistically expect all games to end at 11:40. That will be the first round, and half the teams will be eliminated.
The first round is an elimination round? That's kind of weird, isn't it? This is a continuation of other tournaments that have already been played at other universities in this region. These teams have done this 3 times before to compete for their seeds in this tournament. This one that we are hosting is the first round of the playoffs, which means elimination from each game. Each team will play 3 times here, and then the championship game will be played in Denver at a professional stadium. It's actually a pretty cool thing for these kids. Dang, that is sweet. I wish they had that kind of thing when I was in high school.
This is the first year doing it, but it came from some other states where it was very successful.
Nice.
So that will be how the rest of the day goes. Just repeat the same actions each time games start.
We will post the times for each game, and then the same people will have the same jobs each time, so that it is simple and everyone knows what to do. Okay, sounds good. Can we play music over the speakers when there are no games being played? Yeah, that's a good idea. I'll let you be in charge of that, Logan. Please just be sure and play family-friendly music. None of that stupid death metal stuff you always listen to. Well, that's no fun. I'll get someone else to choose the music then. Okay. Are we all on the same page about the day then? In the morning, we will choose people for the different jobs that they will be performing all day, as well as post the times they need to be at specific places. Do we have enough water, shade, and bathrooms for everybody all day? Yeah, shade is not a problem because each team will have their own tent that they will provide, as well as water. We will have water for sale at the info tent, as well as Gatorade and that kind of thing.
Oh, that reminds me. We will also be grilling hamburgers, hot dogs, and bratwurst starting at noon. We already have a group that volunteered to do this, so we don't have to worry about that.
Oh, very cool. As far as the bathrooms go, we rented 5 porta potties, and they will get there the night before.
So, aside from the predetermined games and roles each of us will be playing, we will also have the Challenger soccer game that will be at 3 p.m.
Yeah, I've heard of those Challenger games, but what exactly are they? Well, I was going to wait until Nate got here, since he's in charge of it, but it doesn't look like he will get here in time. It's basically a cool way for disabled children to be taught the rules and basic skills of different sports. Some of them are competitive, but most are for fun to get outdoors and feel good playing sports.
So, ours will be teaching them soccer, obviously. We have a group of about 20 kids coming aged 5 through 18. Starting at 3, we will split up into 3 different groups, each group practicing a different soccer skill. One will be dribbling, one will be shooting, and one will be goalkeeping.
We will be having a meeting with a professor of special education to go through the proper ways of interacting with and responding to children with special needs. This is awesome, dude. How did we get involved in this? Yeah, it's a very cool thing. Actually, Nate's mom suggested it. She had heard of it and told us we should look into it, so we did. Cool. I'm really looking forward to that. Yep, me too.
So, to finish up the schedule of the day, the Challenger games will go for 1 hour, then another round of games. At 7 p.m., we will be announcing the 2 teams that will go on to the championship.
So, Logan, there are a bunch of different moving parts that you are responsible for finding people to be in charge of. Are you clear on everything? Yeah, for sure. This will be fun. I'm stoked for this. If this goes smoothly and everybody is happy with it, this can become an annual thing for our university.
That would be great for our reputation and a great experience for our students to have.
Definitely. The goal is to be able to do this every year, so it's crucial that we have a good showing this first time. Are we going to have any kind of fun things available for the children here to do that don't really care about soccer? What do you mean? I mean there will be a ton of families there to watch the games. However, many of the little brothers and sisters of the players probably will get bored throughout the day. Do we have anything to keep them entertained? Well, not right now. But if you think of something you want to do, I bet we could make it happen. Even something as simple as selling candy or snow cones or something would be cool. Yeah, I agree. We'll see what we can do.
Since Nate never did show up, I'll have to meet with him tomorrow and tell him everything again. But for us, I think this was good. We're all on the same page now.
Definitely. We still have the meeting with the special education professor next Thursday at 3 p.m. It's important that as many people be here as possible, although I think many of us will be in class.
We are talking to the professor and trying to convince her to meet us later for that reason.
Okay, great. Well, thanks a lot for being here, guys. I really appreciate it. This is gonna be great.
Absolutely. Great job, man. See you guys next Thursday.
All right, sounds good. Later, guys. Hey, guys. Sorry I'm late. What all have you guys talked about?
Book 10, Skit 5, Cooking Class to College Students.
Lisa's students begin to make their way into the large room, which contains a large, fully equipped kitchen. The students take their seats, and Lisa enters the room.
Good morning, class.
Good morning.
Welcome to my class. In this class, you will learn all about the various items located in a kitchen, how to use them, and what they are used for. At the end of the semester, you will learn how to apply that knowledge with some cooking recipes. Are there any questions?
The students remain silent.
Okay, great. So as you can see, I am standing in a large, fully equipped kitchen. For today's class, we will be discussing what kitchenware is and how it's used. Also, if any of you have any questions, feel free to ask them at any time. We are going to be starting with cutlery, also known as eating utensils.
You mean forks, spoons, and knives?
Yes, exactly. But there are a lot of variations of these utensils, and each of them has a different purpose.
Lisa moves behind a large countertop where an assortment of eating utensils are laid out.
We will start with forks. Forks are used to eat most solid foods. However, there are many types of forks. The standard dinner fork has 4 prongs. Next, we have a salad fork, which is a shorter version of the dinner fork. As the name implies, this fork is used to eat fruit and vegetable salads. Now we're going to move on to some of the lesser-known versions of the fork. For instance, the beef fork is used for picking up meat. It is shaped the same way as a regular fork, but it is slightly bigger with tines that are curved outward. This is known as a carving fork. It has 2 prongs and is used to hold meat steady while it is being carved. This is a cocktail fork. This is used to pick up garnishes such as olives. This one is important to remember for cocktail and business parties.
What about that last fork in the corner? That looks like a spoon.
Oh, good question. It is a spoon. Well, at least partially. It is called a spork because it has the prongs of a fork but the shape of a spoon. It is often used in fast food dining.
Oh, that is very interesting. Thank you for answering my question.
You're welcome. That should about do it for forks. Are there any questions?
Are there any other forks other than these?
Yes, there are many other forks which have been invented. However, most of them are not commonly used. Also, we have many other items to go over. So I don't want to overload you with having to remember utensils which you've probably never seen.
That makes sense. Thank you.
Now let's move on to spoons.
Lisa makes her way over to a line of spoons, which are laid out over the countertop.
Unlike forks, spoons usually have a more obvious purpose. First, we begin with the teaspoon and tablespoon. These are the most common types of spoons. Teaspoons and tablespoons are also sometimes used to measure cooking ingredients, which is very important to remember. The teaspoon is the smallest spoon, and the tablespoon is equal to 3 teaspoons in volume. The teaspoon should not be confused with the iced teaspoon. The iced teaspoon has a handle which is much longer than a teaspoon.
What is the iced teaspoon primarily used for?
The iced teaspoon is used primarily in restaurants when someone orders iced tea. The spoon is used to stir sugar into the tea. Next is the soup spoon. This is the last type of spoon you will likely see at a restaurant. This spoon has a large rounded bowl for eating soup. Next, we move on to my favorite utensil, knives. First up, we have the bread knife. As you can see, this knife has a serrated blade for cutting bread. This knife, which usually accompanies a fork and spoon at the dinner table, is called a steak knife. This is used primarily to cut the meat on your plate. Now on to the butter knife. This is usually beside your steak knife and is used for placing butter onto bread.
Lisa makes her way over to a larger set of knives and points down at them.
All of these knives are known as kitchen or chef's knives. They are all used in food preparation, which includes carving, boning, etc.
Those knives look very sharp.
Yes, they are. They are not used as eating utensils. In fact, they never leave the kitchen area. Well, that is all for today, class. Tomorrow we will discuss tableware, cookware, and bakeware.
All of the students close their books and get up to leave the class, leaving Lisa to prepare for the next day. The next day before class, Lisa's helper Rob shows up to class to help her present and talk about the items they are going to cover for that day. Lisa and Rob talk amongst themselves while they wait for Lisa's students to enter the classroom and sit down quietly. So, I'm basically going to be the comedy relief for today.
I don't think it could hurt, Rob. It is important to keep the students interested with all of the terms we have to cover.
Okay, works for me. Lisa and Rob enter the kitchen classroom.
Hello, class. Today I've brought along my friend, Rob. Rob is going to be helping me present the remainder of our kitchenware today. He is also going to be interacting with me as someone who knows very little about kitchens and cooking. Hopefully, that will make it easier for you guys to see the practical use of these items.
Hey, everyone. Hello, Rob.
Great. Let's get started. As I stated yesterday, we are going to begin today with tableware.
What is tableware? Is that when your table gets worn out? Students laugh.
No, Rob. Tableware is also known as dishware or dinnerware.
Oh, now I understand.
Tableware includes bowls, which are used to eat soup, cereal, or hold pasta and fruit.
Rob holds up a couple of plates and looks confused. What is the purpose of these?
Good question, Rob. As you can see, the plates are in different sizes. The smallest plate is known as a tea plate. The next smallest is a salad plate. The next is a dessert plate, and the second to largest plate is the dinner plate.
What about this plate that is bigger than the dinner plate?
That plate is known as a charger. It is used to decorate the dinner plate.
Oh, I see. Thanks.
Let's move on now to a subset of tableware known as drinkware.
Lisa and Rob move to the corner of the countertop where a row of glasses are lined up. Those are some cool-looking glasses. What are their uses?
Well, let's start with the wine glass. It is comprised of 3 parts: a bowl, stem, and a foot.
And it is for drinking wine, of course.
Of course. Next, we have the mug. This is a sturdy cup with a handle that usually contains hot liquids. Do not confuse mugs with coffee cups. Coffee cups are shorter and rounder than mugs. Finally, we have your typical drinking glasses. These are used for your standard cold drinks.
Very good information here, Lisa.
Thanks, Rob. It is important to remember these different types of cups. You would look rather silly putting coffee in a wine glass.
Rob laughs. Good one, Lisa. And that is very true. Lisa and Rob move on to the next area of the countertop. This time, they are in front of an assortment of pots and pans.
Now we get to the main course of our kitchenware. Cookware is something you will have to have in your kitchen to properly prepare meals. First, I'd like to discuss the materials that modern cookware is made from. Generally, cookware today is made out of aluminum, copper, cast iron, and stainless or carbon steel. Steel and aluminum pans can be coated with a substance known as Teflon. This type of compound is used to coat pans. These pans are also known as non-stick pans.
So that's what a non-stick pan is.
However, cookware can also be made from non-metal elements. This type of cookware is also sometimes referred to as microwave safe and can be made from ceramics, glass, stone, or silicone.
That's right. Never place metal from any type of kitchenware into a microwave, or it will blow it up.
Yes, that is a very good point to make, Rob. We'll discuss that a bit more once we enter into the methods of preparing food section.
Sounds good, Lisa.
So now that we've covered what cookware is made of, let's discuss the different types of pots and pans you will use to prepare different kinds of food.
Yes, I see a lot of variety here. How do you keep track of it all?
We'll start at the top with braising and roasting pans. These pans are large, wide, and shallow. They provide plenty of space to cook roasts, whole hams, etc. You can also use them with or without a cover to complete the same function. It really depends on how much moisture you want to keep in the meat.
Sounds simple enough.
Next in line is the casserole pan, which, as its name implies, is used for making casseroles. Some casserole pans can be used on stovetops in addition to the oven.
Ah, so that is one key difference between casserole pans and roasters.
Correct, Rob. Now, these heavy deep pots are known as Dutch ovens. They can be used on a stovetop or a campfire and are used to make stews and to braise meats.
Lisa and Rob move over to the next assortment of pots and pans. Most of these look familiar, Lisa.
They should, Rob. These are the pots and pans you probably see the most often. First up, we have frying pans, aka as skillets. Skillets always have a flat, large surface for heating and shallow sides. These pans are most often used for pan-frying food.
Very practical. So skillets are one of the pans most often used in everyday cooking?
You are correct, Rob. Next up, we have bakeware. These are often used for creating desserts.
Those are my favorite.
Mine too, Rob. We'll start with cake pans. They come in square and rounded shapes. This muffin tin is also considered to be a cake pan. It has individual slots in the pan for pouring batter. These sheet pans with large flat bottoms are also sometimes referred to as cookie sheets.
And that pan that looks like a frisbee?
That is a pie pan. The name pretty much says it all.
Awesome!
We are almost out of time for today, class. Does anyone have any questions?
The class remains silent.
Okay, great. I want to thank Rob and all of you for coming today. In the next class, we will discuss cooking methods.
Thank you for having me. The students begin to make their way out of the classroom, and Lisa begins preparing for the next class. The next day, Lisa enlists another guest to join her in the classroom. This time, it is her daughter Sarah. Sarah is a young college student and has very basic knowledge of cooking. Lisa predicts that Sarah's presence will be appealing to her students, who also have a limited knowledge of cooking. At the same time the next day, Lisa's students begin to enter the classroom and take their seats. A couple of minutes later, Lisa enters the classroom with her daughter Sarah.
Hello, class. Today, I am accompanied by my daughter, Sarah. Hello, everyone.
Hello, Sarah.
Like I mentioned yesterday, today we will discuss cooking methods. Sarah, what cooking methods are you familiar with? Honestly, not many. I am mostly familiar with the microwave oven.
The students laugh.
Yes, microwave ovens are the most commonly known form of cooking these days, but very few dishes are prepared through the use of a microwave. Microwaves are great for frozen dinners you pick up at the supermarket and can sometimes be used to thaw meat in a hurry, but I would advise against that. So, microwaves are basically only for quick meals, right? Yes. You can think of the microwave as the fast food of home cooking. Let's get into some actual cooking methods. The first method we will discuss is roasting. You can use an open flame or an oven to do this. It allows the meat to caramelize, which enhances the flavor of the meat. Roasted chicken is prepared in this way. Oh, I didn't know that. That is very interesting. It is very similar to grilling, which uses an open flame powered by charcoal or propane gas. Remember those baking pans we talked about yesterday? They are normally used in ovens to bake smaller cuts of meat or dessert dishes such as pies, pastries, cookies, and cakes. What about these deep cooking pots? What cooking methods are they used for? Cooking pots are generally used for large amounts of liquid. Most often, this is for boiling, but they can also be used for steaming, simmering, and stewing food as well. That makes a lot of sense. What about these skillets? Skillets are mainly used for frying, but some of the deeper skillets can be used for deep frying. The opposite of deep frying is pan frying. This is when you use a small amount of grease to fry the food. Essentially, you are letting the pan fry the food, hence the name. That's pretty easy to remember. It sure is. Our next cooking method is smoking. Smoking is a method of preparing food that requires burning wood. Therefore, it usually isn't done indoors. Smoking is similar to grilling in this regard. Yes, I can't do either because I live in an apartment. Actually, you can get indoor grills which use electricity. It is very convenient if you want to be able to grill inside. Really? I'll have to check that out sometime. You should. That is all the time we have for today's class. In tomorrow's class, we'll go over some common cooking ingredients and delve into a few recipes you can prepare for yourself. I want to thank Sarah and all of you for coming today. It was very enlightening. Thank you.
The students depart from the class. Sarah leaves a few moments later. The next day, Lisa decides to bring Rob back to the class to help her introduce cooking ingredients and recipes. As the class settles in the next day, Lisa and Rob walk out into the kitchen area and greet the class.
Good morning, everyone. I've brought Rob back today to help me with discussing cooking ingredients, seasonings, and recipes.
It's great to be back and see everyone, Lisa. What exactly is a cooking ingredient?
Cooking ingredients are the items that make up a recipe. I am going to go over a few basic seasonings you should have in your pantry. These seasonings will help you become a much better cook.
Okay, sounds great. Let's get started.
The most basic seasonings are salt, pepper, and paprika. Everyone should pretty much already have these in their kitchen. If not, you should run out and pick them up later. They are very simple to use and can enhance food quite easily with just a few sprinkles. Next, we have a bowl of diced tomatoes. I bought this in a can at the supermarket and poured them in a bowl. These are great to use for preparing meals such as soups and stews.
So, canned is the way to go? I notice you have another can here as well.
Yes, I also use organic black beans, which come from a can. There are some great ingredients out there that come from cans.
Very nice. What else do you have here on the table?
Well, speaking of cans, you can buy stock or broth in cans, which I would recommend doing if you don't have a lot of time to cook food. Chicken and beef stock are the most common. Moving on, I have chili paste, which is used in preparing spicy foods. I also have soy sauce, which is used for flavoring a lot of foods as well. And next to those are baby spinach, potato wedges, and grape tomatoes. These are all common ingredients you may want to include in some of your recipes.
They look very healthy, too.
You are correct, Rob. Okay, so now we've gone over some ingredients. Let's talk about some easy recipes you can make for yourself at home.
Sounds fantastic. What do you have for us today, Lisa? Lisa makes her way over to the oven, grabs a pair of oven mitts, and pulls out a dish she had prepared earlier. She brings the dish over to the countertop and sits it down.
This is chicken cordon bleu. It is very simple to make and only requires 5 ingredients. In fact, you may have most of them in your kitchen already.
Wow, that looks complicated. How did you do it with only 5 ingredients?
Easy, Rob. Let me explain. When you're ready to start, preheat your oven to 350 degrees Fahrenheit. You'll need 4 halves of skinless, boneless chicken, a quarter teaspoon of salt, an eighth of a teaspoon of ground black pepper, 6 slices of Swiss cheese, 4 slices of cooked ham, and half a cup of seasoned breadcrumbs. Pound the chicken breasts to a 1/4-inch thickness. You can use the bottom of a clean, non-stick cast iron pan to do this. Sprinkle salt and pepper on each side of each piece of chicken. Next, you'll place 1 slice of cheese and 1 piece of ham on top of each chicken breast. Once you've done this, roll up each chicken breast and secure them with toothpicks. Coat the bottom of your baking pan with non-stick cooking spray. I recommend a baking pan at least 7 by 11 in diameter. Once you've done this, take your chicken breasts and place them into the baking pan. Then place them into the oven. Preparation time should take less than 10 minutes, with a cooking time of around 35 minutes.
Wow, I didn't realize it was so simple. So basically, a few minutes to prepare and you're done, right?
Exactly, Rob.
Very nice. So what other dishes do you have for us today?
I like to refer to this next one as salsa chicken, and it requires less cooking time than our last recipe. First, preheat your oven to 375 degrees Fahrenheit. Then take 4 skinless, boneless chicken breast halves and place them into a 9 by 13 baking dish. Next, sprinkle a packet of taco seasoning on both sides of the chicken halves. For the last step, take 1 cup of your favorite salsa and pour it over the chicken halves. And that's it for preparation. Simply bake the chicken breasts at 375 degrees Fahrenheit for 25 to 35 minutes. Once the chicken is tender, you can pull it out of the oven and sprinkle 1 cup of shredded cheddar cheese over the chicken if you'd like. Then pop it back in for a few minutes and allow the cheese to melt.
Wow, that is really easy. How long did it take for you to prepare it?
Not even 5 minutes, Rob.
Very impressive.
Now we're going to move on to a different style of oven cooking. You'll begin this next recipe by preheating your oven's broiler and setting the oven rack about 6 inches from the heat source. This recipe will allow you to prepare a sugar-glazed salmon. We'll need a 1/4 cup of packed light brown sugar, 2 tablespoons of Dijon mustard, 4 6-ounce boneless salmon fillets, and salt and ground black pepper for seasoning. Once you've preheated your broiler, season the salmon with salt and pepper and arrange them into a broiler pan. Now you'll want to mix together the brown sugar and Dijon mustard in a small bowl. Once you've done this, take a teaspoon or tablespoon and spoon the mixture evenly on top of your salmon fillets. You'll place the salmon into the preheated broiler until the salmon begins to flake easily against a fork. This will take around 10 to 15 minutes.
Seafood is definitely one of my favorite meals.
It is all very healthy food, Rob. Lastly, I am going to teach you how to prepare chicken dumplings quickly and easily. You'll need 2 1/4 cups of biscuit baking mix, 2/3 cup of milk, 2 14-ounce cans of chicken broth, and 2 10-ounce cans of chicken, drained. Start by taking a medium bowl and stirring together the biscuit mix and milk. Set it aside once it begins to clump together. Pour your cans of chicken broth into a saucepan with your chicken and bring it to a boil. Once your broth is boiling, take a handful of biscuit dough and flatten it with your hand. You'll want to tear off 2-inch pieces of dough and carefully drop them into the boiling broth. Carefully stir to make sure each piece is fully covered by the broth. Once you've finished this, cover the pan and simmer over medium heat for 10 minutes. Also, make sure you occasionally stir the dough in the broth.
And what is the total preparation and cooking time for this recipe, Lisa?
It should only take about 5 minutes to prepare and 15 minutes to cook.
That's pretty fast for chicken dumplings.
That wraps up our introduction to simple recipes. Since we have a few minutes left before class is over, does anyone have any questions about anything we've learned this week?
One of Lisa's students stands up. You mentioned the other day that it is possible to grill indoors? What did you mean by that?
That's a great question. Normally, when we think of grilling, we picture grills which sit outdoors and burn charcoal, wood, or gas. Nowadays, we have grills that are electric-based and do not produce smoke. Therefore, they are safe to use indoors, even in apartment buildings.
Very true, Lisa. There are a number of indoor grills you can pick up in stores and online, which produce a taste similar to traditional grills. They are also much easier to use, clean up, and use to prepare food. Most electric grills heat food on both sides, so it only takes a few minutes to thoroughly cook meat, whereas a traditional grill takes much longer. Thank you.
Thank you for the question. Are there any more?
Another student stands up. Many of us here are full-time college students, and we usually cannot afford to make meals that contain expensive ingredients. Can you recommend some meals which are inexpensive to make?
Oh, that is a great question. Well, you can find a lot of ingredients I mentioned the other day in dollar stores such as Family Dollar or Dollar Tree. The ingredients often come canned, so there is no issue with quality. I know a lot of students that prepare meals with ingredients found at these stores, and they save a lot of money.
Great tip, Lisa. I'd also like to add that you should look through your local newspaper and online for coupons and ads, which are offering sales on select items. Usually, different grocery stores will offer different specials from week to week, or even day to day. You can sometimes find typically expensive items much cheaper this way.
Very true, Rob. Well, that is all the time we have for class this week. I hope everyone found out something new and useful related to cooking. Once again, I'd like to thank Rob for joining me.
It was my pleasure, Lisa.
Great. Class is dismissed.
Have a great week, everyone. Lisa's students exit the classroom.
Skit 6. A mishap in bus traveling. Mark waits outside an RTD terminal in Memphis, Tennessee. According to the bus schedule, the bus should have arrived an hour ago. Mark gets tired of waiting and ventures inside the bus station to speak to the manager. He notices the manager standing at the front desk, staring at his computer screen.
Hello. I have been waiting at this bus stop for over an hour now, but the bus I am supposed to catch hasn't arrived. Can I speak to the manager? Hello, sir. My name is Tom, and I am the manager here. I am sorry to hear that your bus hasn't arrived. Please give me a moment to check the system for you. Which bus is it? The bus I'm supposed to catch is bound for Nashville and was supposed to have arrived here an hour ago.
Tom checks the computer and looks for any obvious problems which may have caused the delay.
I am not seeing anything on the computer. Let me go into the back office and make a few phone calls and see if I can find out what's going on. No problem. Thank you for your help.
Tom heads to the back office to make a phone call to see if he can find out why the bus is running late. Mark takes a seat in the waiting room and sighs. He begins to tap his foot as he waits for the manager to emerge from the back office. Finally, after about 10 minutes, Tom emerges from the back office.
Hey, Mark. Sorry to keep you waiting. That is all right. So, I found out that the bus you were looking to catch was involved in a minor accident, and that is why it is late. Oh, that is terrible. It was only a minor accident, but we did have to stop the bus in order for the police to take a report. I understand. Let me see if I can find another bus for you to catch. Do you have a preference?
Mark shakes his head.
I just need to get there by tonight. Do you have any other buses I can catch? There is one arriving at 4 p.m., and it will reach its destination at 8 p.m. Is that the only option I have? That is all I am seeing. I will take that one then. Okay, just give me a moment and I will re-enter you into the system. Thank you. Do you need my information again? I believe we already have you in the system.
There is a short pause as Tom checks to make sure.
Yes, here you are.
Tom prints a new ticket and hands it to Mark.
I also gave you half off the ticket price, since it wasn't your fault that you missed the bus. That is very kind of you. Thanks.
Skit 7. A hotel room was not reserved by accident.
Shelley is on vacation in another town and just arrived at her hotel room. She makes her way to the front desk, hoping for a quick check-in.
Hello, my name is Shelley Smith, and I'm here to check into my room that I reserved online. Hello, Shelley. My name is Janet. Let me check on the reservation for you. Please give me a moment. Okay, thank you.
A few seconds go by as Janet taps the keys on the keyboard.
The room you reserved is a suite with a king-sized bed, correct? Yes, and it was a non-smoking room. Oh, I see. Well, I just double-checked with the computer, and we do not have any suites with a king-sized bed available. Can you explain to me how this happened? I made a reservation online, and it told me on the webpage that there were rooms available. Sometimes the webpage takes a while to update. The rodeo is in town this week, and most of the hotels in town are booked this weekend. Yes, that is why I'm in town, actually. Do you have any other rooms open? We do have a room that is a queen suite that is located on the first floor if you are interested. Well, if that is the only option, I suppose I will take it. I'm afraid so. Very well. I will take the room.
Janet begins tapping on the keyboard again. About a minute later, she uses the printer to print a document. She places the document on the table in front of Shelley.
Please read and sign this.
Shelley carefully reads the contract and then signs the paper.
Here are your keys. Thank you. You're welcome. By the way, did you say you were here for the rodeo? Yes, I did, actually. This is my first year attending. I'm very excited. Me too. I've been going to the rodeo for the last 10 years, and there is always something new to see. What are you looking forward to seeing the most? A lot of things, but I am most interested in seeing Tim McGraw in concert. I am a big fan of his. Tim McGraw is pretty awesome. I saw him at a concert in Broomfield last year, and he was amazing. I have been to a few of his concerts as well, and I am always excited to see him. There are a lot of great country artists at the rodeo this year. I know. I just drove 26 hours from Virginia to go this year. I have been meaning to come for a while, but I couldn't find the time. Wow, Virginia. That is quite far away. I have a sister that used to live in Richmond, Virginia. Yes, I come from the Roanoke, Virginia area. How is the weather up there this time of year? It is actually very mild, which is quite nice. I didn't expect it to be so hot here in Colorado.
Janet laughs.
It actually gets quite hot here in Colorado. In the summer, temperatures can reach up to 100 degrees. It is 75 right now, which is actually quite mild for early spring. Wow, I had no idea it can get so hot here. That is just crazy. I thought 100 degrees in Virginia was bad during the middle of summer. Well, I do know from being in Virginia that it can get very humid up there. Here, it is rather dry. Sounds like it. So who are you looking forward to seeing at the rodeo this year? I am looking forward to seeing Darius Rucker perform. Have you heard of him? Of course. I hear his song Wagon Wheel on the radio all the time. Yep, that's him. He used to perform with the band Hootie and the Blowfish, and now he is a country artist. I'm also looking forward to watching the bull riders at the rodeo. I would imagine it is a very dangerous sport to partake in. You bet. I swear some of those bulls at the rodeo must have been plucked from the wild. The way they buck those riders around sometimes is crazy. I can't wait to see it. While I'm here talking to you, are there any other attractions in Colorado you would recommend visiting? Actually, yes. The Boulder Creek located in downtown Boulder is a very nice place to visit this time of year. You can also rent a bike to ride along the creek if you don't feel like walking. Oh, that sounds very interesting. I will have to check that out. There is also the Rocky Mountain National Park. Oh, that's right. I'll have to check that one out too. Thanks. You're quite welcome. Is there anything else you'd like to know about Colorado? Yes. Are there any good restaurants around here? Are you looking for a sit-down restaurant or fast food? Something quick and easy, since I am going to be spending a lot of time at the rodeo. There is a chain of fast food restaurants down here called Taco Cabana. You should check them out sometime. They originated in San Antonio, Texas, and have pretty good food if you're looking for something quick. I will definitely check them out. Thank you. Anytime. Well, I have taken up enough of your time. I am going to grab my bags and head to my room. Thank you for the information. I really appreciate it. Sure thing. If you need anything else, please do not hesitate to contact the front desk. Will do.
Shelley grabs her bags and heads into her hotel room. Once she gets into her room, she decides to take a nap, but she awakens a couple of hours later to a loud humming noise in her room. Shelley notices the sound is coming from the air conditioner, which is mounted beneath the window. She walks up to the air conditioner and turns the knob, turning the device off. When she does this, the loud humming stops. She decides to venture back out to the front desk and let them know of the situation. But upon her arrival at the front desk, Shelley doesn't see anyone present.
Hello? Is there anyone here?
A couple of minutes go by before someone finally emerges from the back room. Hello, I'm Jack. Can I help you?
Hello, Jack. Is Janet around?
I'm sorry, ma'am, but Janet just got off work about half an hour ago. But I'd be glad to assist you with whatever you need.
Oh, I see. Well, the air conditioner in my room seems to be malfunctioning, and I'm unable to sleep due to the loud humming sound it is making.
Let me see if I can get in touch with our technician. One moment, please.
Thank you.
Jack picks up the phone and presses a few keys on the telephone keypad. 30 seconds later, he hangs up the phone. Our technician doesn't seem to be in at the moment. Would you like me to see if we have any rooms available to move you?
Thanks, Jack. I would appreciate that.
No problem. I will check now. Jack checks the computer. I do actually have one room open that I could move you to. Would you like to do that?
Yes, and I hope the air conditioner in that room works better.
Both laugh. There have not been any problems reported in this new room, so you shouldn't have any problems. Here are your new keys. Don't worry about returning the old ones right away. You can just drop them off sometime tomorrow.
Thank you. I will go check it out now.
Let us know if you have any more issues. Thank you for staying with us.
Skit 8, Male Gathering.
Hi, John. Hey, Mike. Good to see you, man, after so long. Yes, John. Glad to see you too. It has been so long since we have enjoyed a soccer match together. Anyways, where are Tony and Ronnie? I cannot see them. I hope they're coming. Yes, of course. Both of them are coming. Tony is stuck in some office work thanks to his workaholic boss. And Ronnie has to go to the airport to drop his wife Susie, who is going to New York for her best friend's wedding. Mike, please take a seat and make yourself comfortable. What would you like to have? What options do you have, John? Beer, vodka, rum, whiskey, champagne, and cold drinks. And in case you don't want any of those, how about having juice or chocolate milk? Come on, John. I am not a 10-year-old boy, but a 23-year-old handsome young dude. Get me a chilled beer. Hey, I was just kidding. Here's your drink. How about some snacks with beer? Match will start in about another 10 minutes. It is Manchester United versus Bayern Munich. Let's wait for Tony and Ronnie. Let them come and we will all enjoy this together. Anyways, how is your new girlfriend? I'm sorry, I'm forgetting her name. And by the way, what happened with Lucy? Why did you break up? You two were supposedly planning to get married. Hey, buddy, let's not talk about Lucy. You know, she was desperate to get married, but I am not ready for it yet. You know, I'm just 25 and not mentally prepared for all those responsibilities. But she wanted to get married and have kids and all the general family stuff. She is nice, but anyways, forget it. We have both moved on in life. All right, so that's the whole matter. And how about your new girlfriend? You mean Mary? She is beautiful and just my type. We met over the internet and started dating each other.
The doorbell rings. John goes and opens the door. Tony and Ronnie both are standing at the door.
Hey, buddies. Good to see you guys. Hey, John. Thanks for inviting us to your place. I must say, you have got a beautiful house. I must compliment you for this, since you are a bachelor and still able to manage your house nicely. Thanks, buddy. Glad you like it. Ronnie is right. How about the match? Has it started yet? I am really looking forward to watching this match. It was a bad day at work. No, we still have 5 minutes to go, and don't worry, we will all have fun tonight. Hey, Tony, how are you doing? And what about your pretty wife and little Nancy? I'm doing good, Mike. I think it's more than 3 months since we last met. My wife and darling daughter Nancy both are fine. Nancy has gone to her grandfather's place, as tomorrow is her grandfather's 80th birthday. I also wanted to join them, but my boss didn't approve my leave. How can your boss do that? He is such a loser. What about you, Ronnie? How's life, buddy? And how's married life treating you? It's been 1 year since you were married. Fine. I am enjoying every bit of married life. Life has never been so beautiful. I really thank God for blessing me with such a lovely and beautiful life partner. She has gone to New York to attend her best friend's wedding. She will be back in 2 days. Good to hear that, Ronnie. May God bless you guys. Ronnie and Tony, what would you like to have? I would prefer beer. Same for me.
The soccer match starts. Manchester United versus Bayern Munich.
Oh, God, I am so excited. I still can't believe it. We are here and watching the soccer match together. I am dead sure Manchester will win tonight. No way, Mike. Today, it's going to be Bayern Munich's day. Have you seen the latest additions in the team? Those 2 players are amazing. Whatever. Nothing can beat Manchester. I can bet you that Manchester would not only win this match, but will also take home the tournament cup. Okay. No fights, please. I'm with Ronnie. Bayern Munich looks strong to me compared to Manchester. What are you talking about, man? Manchester is invincible. Have you seen Phil Jones? He is unstoppable these days. And the way he shoots! Oh my God! It's a treat to the eyes. I love that guy. He's my latest favorite. Exactly, Tony. You are right, buddy. Go Manchester! Go Manchester! I wish we had some hot and sexy cheerleaders here. It would have been fun. Not bad, Mike. Not bad, Mike. I can see you are more interested in cheerleaders than in the soccer match. Nothing like that, John. It's just the match excitement. Hey, John. You were talking about some snacks, buddy. Go and get them fast. I'm getting so hungry. It was a long day. I will get them right away. Just give me 5 minutes. Hey, Mike. How about you? You were planning to start your own business. What happened? Any progress? I think you have a solid business plan. Yes, Ronnie, I do have a business plan, but I am not able to find financing for it. Although talks are going on with 2 angel investors, they haven't confirmed yet. I am expecting a call from them tonight. We'll see. Okay, and how about marriage? I heard your mother is after you to get married. Yes, she wants me to get married as soon as possible. You know, I told her a couple of times that I want to set up my business first, but she doesn't understand anything. You know, at times I think she doesn't want me to grow in life, because she is my stepmother. I cannot comment on this, Mike. I've never met your mom. Anyways, you are a dashing, handsome dude. You must have a girlfriend. Yes, buddy. I do. Snacks, snacks, snacks. What do you have? I smell something nice. Oh my God, it looks so yummy. But by the way, what's this, John? Have you cooked it? You are right, Mike. I have cooked these yummy dishes. It's a new recipe I tried yesterday. I call it Chicky Chicky Yum. I am sure you will all love it. It's delicious, John. You are an excellent cook. I can't believe you prepared it. You must be kidding. Everything is so perfect about this dish. Sorry, I mean Chicky Chicky Yum is so good. Let me also taste it. I must compliment you, John. This chicken has really come out nice. Thanks, guys. I'm honored that you all liked it. I have some more surprises for you. Wait and see. Oh, I am excited. I just love surprises. Hey guys, look! I told you guys, nobody can stop Phil Jones. He just made a goal. It was wonderful. Give me a high five. Go Manchester. Hey, Tony, don't eat too much, buddy. Have you seen yourself in the mirror? You must be over 220 pounds. What to do, Mike? Life is so busy with work. I hardly get time to work out. You know, every day I get home around 9 p.m. at night, and by that time, I am so exhausted that I don't feel like exercising. That's true, Tony. I have even started putting on weight. I don't know how to control this weight. But John, you look fit, buddy. I think you have built up a six-pack. How do you manage such a healthy lifestyle? You are always working late nights, right? Thanks for the compliments, Ronnie. I also don't get time. But thanks to the organization where I work, we have a full-fledged gym. Moreover, my boss is quite flexible and allows me to spend 1 hour daily there between office hours. Lucky you, John. I wish I had the same boss.
Doorbell rings, and John opens the door.
Hey, pizza boy. You are 10 minutes late, man. Where have you been, buddy? I'm extremely sorry, sir. I was late because of heavy traffic. Here's your pizza, pasta, and choco lava cake. I hope you will love it. Thank you. Bye.
John rejoins his friends.
Anybody interested in hot sizzling pizza, pasta, and choco lava? Hey, I want it, I want it. Me too. Don't forget me, John. I also want some. I must say, you have planned this really well. This is going to be a memorable evening. You guys are so busy eating. Have you all noticed Bayern Munich has made a goal? So now it's 1-1. It's going to be tough for either team to defeat the other. John, where are your parents tonight? They must not be at home. Yes, Mike. They have gone to see the latest released movie, Amazing Spider-Man. You know, it's been more than 30 years, but they still love each other so much. That's wonderful. But have you watched the movie? I must say the actor has done an outstanding job. In fact, this movie is far better compared to earlier released Spider-Man movies. That's true, Tony. But somehow I feel the actress could have done a much better job. However, the graphics in the movie, they're incredible. I just loved it. Ronnie, you are forgetting the villain in the movie. What a remarkable performance. Nobody could have done it better than him. You know, I have watched this movie twice, and I can still watch it one more time. Hey, guys, only 30 minutes left, but the score is still 1-1. I so much want Bayern Munich to win this match. But you never know. I have some news to share, guys. What? I'm getting married. Oh my God! Wow, man, many congratulations. Hey, that's a big surprise. When, where, and with whom? It's next month in Las Vegas, so relax. Don't tell me, John, you're doing an arranged marriage or something. You're not that type of guy. Come on, tell us, how did this happen? Her name is Mint Robinson. She is pursuing her MBA. She's my dad's best friend's daughter. I never thought I would end up marrying her, but she is an excellent human being, full of love and affection. After our first date, I started liking her, and finally, after 2 months, we decided to get married. That's an interesting story, John. I wish you both good luck for your new phase in life. Thanks, Mike. But wait, let's do a bachelor party. That would be fun. Las Vegas is the perfect place for it. I will do the arrangements. We will have fun, guys. Let's go. I'm so excited. That's fine, Tony. But would you be able to get leave from your work? And how about you, Mike? You might be busy with your business. Oh, I didn't give it a thought. My boss would never allow me to leave, at least for a bachelor party. I need to give him a good excuse. I think I can manage. 3 to 4 days should not be a problem. But guys, Let's ask the would-be groom what he thinks about a bachelor party in Vegas. What do you say, John? I am not sure, guys, about a bachelor party in Vegas. But how about having one in this city only? Yes, even that sounds like a good idea. Nobody has to get extra leave from work. One day will be sufficient. We can also call Tom and Harry. They're not here today, otherwise this evening would have been even better. I am of the same opinion. Thank God. I don't have to make excuses for my boss now. What's the marriage date, John? It's the 15th of June. So, guys, how about June 8th? I think that's a holiday. That works for me. Even I'm okay with it. The 8th of June is cool. John, are you fine with the date? Yes, it's all right. Hey, one more goal from Manchester United. Yeah. I love it. Score is 2-1 now.
Again, the doorbell rings, and John opens the door.
Hey, Mom. Hey, Dad. You guys are back. How did you like the movie? I thought you would have dinner out tonight.
Hey, son. We liked the movie, John. It was really nice. We had enough snacks during the movie, so not feeling like having dinner. Oh my God! I can see a party going on here.
Hello. How are you both doing? Good, son. Nice to see you, Mike. It's been too long. Hi, Ronnie. Tony. We are extremely tired. Sorry, boys. We're not going to be able to join you. You please enjoy your party and have fun. Good night.
Sweet dreams.
Good night. Good night. Good night, Mom. Good night, Dad. Sleep well. Love you both.
John's mom and dad leave for their room.
Let's continue our party, guys. So, guys, it's final. We are having my bachelor party on June 8th. Hey, John, where are you planning your honeymoon? You must go to Hawaii. It's an amazing place. No. I think, John, you should go to Brazil. It's the soccer season there. You guys will enjoy it. I am really happy for you, John. Loads of blessings and best wishes. Thanks, Ronnie. But we are planning to go to Malaysia. Actually, Mint has been to Malaysia, and she just loves the beaches there. She wants to revisit there. Yes, that's a nice place. I visited there once with my wife and Nancy. The beaches are amazing. If you want, I can tell you some good hotels where you guys can stay. Thanks, Tony. I would definitely take your advice on that. Hey, John, just tell me one thing. While coming to your place, I saw a hot girl in your neighborhood. Who is she? Why are you interested in her, Mike? You're already dating somebody, man. Shame on you. Chill, Ronnie. I'm just curious, man. She was so hot that I couldn't take my eyes off her. Another goal from Manchester. It's 3-1 now. Oh no! Now it's going to be difficult for Bayern Munich. Come on, Munich! Come on, boys! You can do it! Leave it, Ronnie. You have almost lost the match, man. Only 15 minutes left. Munich, 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 Munich. That's it! One more goal! Come on! We just need one more goal to tie the match. Last 10 minutes, buddy. Forget it. Manchester is going to be the winner tonight. John, can I have some more beer, buddy? Sure. I will just get it. Anything for you guys? Ronnie? Tony? No thanks, John. Get me some vodka with juice. Sure, Tony. Last 1 minute. And it's over. Yeah, we won, Tony. 3 cheers for Manchester United. Hip hip hooray! Hip hip hooray! Hip hip hooray! Congrats, buddy. But you have to say, we put up a good fight. Yes, that's true. But in the end, Manchester was the winner. But whatever. It was a wonderful evening with you all. I enjoyed it a lot. Same here. Here's your drinks, guys. Beer for you, Mike. Vodka with juice for Tony. Well, I think I should take off now. Tomorrow morning I have to go to the office. Thank you so much, John. It was a lovely evening, and I must compliment that you are a good cook. Okay, good night, everyone. Hey, guys, Mike and Tony, it was really nice meeting you both. You are most welcome, Ronnie, and thanks a ton for coming. Okay, John, I should leave now too. It's late. But what an evening we had, full of excitement, food, drinks, and soccer. Oh, I just love my friends. Thank you, John. Okay, bye-bye. Thanks a lot, John. Lovely dinner and what a match. And guys, don't forget, next month, 8th of June, bachelor party. John, would you please inform Tom and Harry? Good night, guys. I will do that, Tony. Good night, everyone, and thank you so much for coming. It was lovely seeing you all. Bye. Good night.
Skit 9. Female Gathering. Ladies, thanks for coming over. As you all know, I'm getting married. We know. And I have an important question for all of you. You have been my best friends since 6th grade. I can't imagine getting married without all 3 of you by my side. So, I am asking, will you be my bridesmaids? Oh my God, yes! I can't believe it. I'm so excited. I knew it! So is it just going to be the 3 of us? I am also going to ask my future sister-in-law, Marilyn. She is pretty cool. Where does she live? In Charleston, where her family is from. How old is she? Is she married? She's our age. She's not married, but she has a pretty serious boyfriend. You can interrogate her further when you meet her. So we get to meet her before the wedding? That depends on the pre-wedding festivities that we plan. Vegas! Haha, we can discuss it. So have you decided on anything for the wedding, Angela? Not really. We've only been engaged for a couple of weeks. But we really want to get married outdoors. Do you guys have any ideas? How about the botanical gardens? I heard it's pretty expensive. Yeah, I've heard that too. Is there a budget? Greg would say yes. I would say you only get married once. How about a vineyard wedding? That would be pretty nice. Endless bottles of fancy wine. Honestly, we really just want our wedding to be relaxed and fun. It doesn't have to be super fancy. What do you guys think about a barn wedding? A barn wedding would really fit both of your personalities. Also, I've seen tons of pictures of barn weddings on Pinterest. What's Pinterest? I've heard of it, but I've never used it. It's a virtual bulletin board where you pin your favorite pictures from the internet. That sounds useful. So you've started pinning wedding pictures? Yep, but many of the ideas are over the top. I mean, do we really need a champagne waterfall at our wedding? I don't see why not. I have a confession. Even I've started a wedding Pinterest board. Really? You don't even have a boyfriend. Don't rub it in. I figure it's just positive thinking. Maybe you can pin pictures of possible grooms. I hear James Franco is still single. It reminds me of high school when we used to spend hours cutting out wedding dresses from magazines. If we wore the dresses we picked out in high school, I would be wearing a poofy princess gown with a tiara. What's wrong with that? That sounds awesome. I would have to find a castle to match the dress. But you already have your Prince Charming. Aww. If Greg had it his way, we would just elope. Well, that's no fun. I can't believe he would say that. He is really worried about family drama. His parents are divorced and they pretty much hate each other. Mostly, he is worried that his mom will bring her much younger boyfriend. Really? That's scandalous. I guess. I'm just hoping they will behave themselves at their only son's wedding. I bet they love you too. It helps when you've been dating for 5 years. Has it really been that long? I remember the first time we met him. Angela was so worried that we were going to embarrass her. And we did. We asked him what his intentions with our friend were. Didn't we also give him a mini lecture on using protection? Oh my God, yes. He actually thought you guys were funny. We are funny. His friends are even worse. The first time I met them, they told me a million embarrassing stories about Greg. But Greg is so mature and dependable. What stories could they possibly have? Apparently, he wasn't so mature and dependable during their college days. I already told him that all of his friends are banned from giving a toast at the reception. So which of your lovely bridesmaids gets to give a toast? Do any of you want to volunteer? I volunteer Beth. Well, thank you for volunteering me, Carly. I suppose I am the most charming, witty friend. No, just the loudest. Well, that too. My other idea was to have the three of you give a toast together. That would make sense, since most of our memories are all of us together. No embarrassing stories, though, or else I will have to ban you, too. We can't promise that. Oh, geez. Beth is kidding. Of course we will behave ourselves. So going back to the wedding dress, what do you have in mind? Well, something that looks vintage, but not too vintage. I'm thinking lace with satin buttons down the back. Strapless? I'm not against strapless, but I think I prefer cap sleeves. I agree. I feel like everyone is wearing strapless these days. I'm sorry, but it's not flattering when your boobs are falling out of your dress. I don't think I have to worry about that. Can we come wedding dress shopping with you? Yes, but I think I'm going to wait until closer to the wedding date. Are you trying to lose weight before the wedding? Maybe. Nothing crazy. I just want to slim down a little bit. Well, I've been going to this spinning class every Tuesday. You guys should come with me. That would be fun. Plus, the instructor is really cute. Maybe he can be your date to the wedding, Debbie. Have you shown him your wedding Pinterest board yet? Shut up! I admitted that to you in confidence. Let's plan on going next Tuesday. Beth and Carly, do you want to come? I'm in. I definitely want to see this cute instructor now. Depends on work. I'll let you guys know. So, what are we wearing for our bridesmaid dresses? I'm not sure. I haven't picked a color scheme yet. How about blue and yellow? I don't want to wear a yellow dress. Well, of course not. I was thinking blue dresses with yellow flowers. What about shoes? Yellow shoes? If it's a barn wedding, we could do matching cowboy boots. That would be adorable. Let's keep that in mind. Do you like the blue and yellow color scheme, Angela? You know my favorite color has always been blue, and yellow would be a pop of sunshine. Ooh, how about sunflowers? That would be perfect. Does Greg like sunflowers? He's a boy. He doesn't have flower preferences. You'd be surprised. He has this weird thing for lilies. Lilies remind me of funerals. That's unfortunate. Let's stick with sunflowers then. Wedding planning is so fun. What else is there? Food, music, photographer. Do you remember my cousin Connor? He is a wedding photographer now. Is he any good? Do you think he would be willing to give us a discount? I can ask. Let's look at his website. I'll go grab my laptop. Okay, so it's www.ckphotography.com. Wow, fancy website with music and everything. Try clicking on the first couple, Matt and Kim. I actually really like the black and white photos. It's such a timeless look. Aw, the bride's dad is crying. I bet Tom will cry too. You think? My dad is definitely a softie. Of course he will. He cried at our high school graduation. I can't believe how big their wedding party is. They must be pretty popular. It just looks tacky. Keep scrolling down. I want to see the reception photos. Looks like a sit-down dinner. Do you think a buffet would be too casual? No, I think you could make it work. I went to a wedding once where they had barbecue. At first I was skeptical, but it turned out to be delicious. Did the bride get any barbecue sauce on her dress? Not that I can remember. That's what I would be worried about. I'll have to talk to Greg about what he wants to do for food. Band or DJ? I'm not sure. Beth, do you have any cousins that are wedding singers? No, but I can sing. No. Or not. That would be really funny if you had karaoke at your wedding. Now that's an original idea. I would consider it as long as I didn't have to sing. Greg can just serenade you with his favorite love ballad. I like it. Afterwards, the four of us could sing a Spice Girls song. Only if Greg's friends sing the Backstreet Boys or something. That would be hilarious. Back to the wedding photos on this website. How cool are the flying paper lanterns? It looks like they are writing messages and then launching them in the air. Seems like a fire hazard to me. How about a sparkler send-off? I love that too, especially with the married couple getting into the classic Rolls-Royce. I think I'm getting a little too ahead of myself. I need to talk to Greg before I get my heart set on anything. We understand. We're just excited that you're getting married.
Phone call between Carly and Debbie.
Hello? Hey, Debs, it's me. What's going on, Carly? Not too much. Did you get Beth's email? About the joint bachelor and bachelorette party in Las Vegas? I just skimmed through it. I think it's going to be really expensive. They want to go for 4 nights and stay at the Bellagio. Yikes. Are you worried about paying for it? Well, I've been saving my money so I can buy a new car. This will really blow a huge hole in my savings.
Yeah, I guess you can tell Angela you won't be able to go.
I feel bad, though, especially since I'm a bridesmaid.
I'm sure she will understand. Maybe we can do a mini celebration in town.
If I bail, Beth will be even angrier than Angela. She is so excited about this trip.
Maybe you can still go if we try to cut some costs. It would be much cheaper if a couple of us shared a room. And just because Angela and Greg are staying at the Bellagio doesn't mean we have to.
That's a good point. Should we look online for cheaper hotels?
Definitely. And since Greg's friends are going, they can buy all of our drinks.
How feminist of you.
There is nothing unfeminist about being financially savvy on a Vegas trip. Anyway, I probably can't take that Monday off of work. We can just come back on Sunday afternoon.
Okay. I'm feeling much better about this now.
Yeah, I think it'll be fun.
I'll see what I can find in terms of cheap hotels and flights.
Okay, just let me know.
Thanks, Debbie. I'll talk to you later.
In Las Vegas.
Excuse me. Could I get another margarita?
Strawberry?
Yeah.
Anything else?
Carly, do you want anything? No, I'm okay for now. Are you sure? I'll pay. Yes, I'm sure.
All right then. One strawberry margarita coming right up.
I'm really glad you could come this weekend. Me too. It would have been really sad if I had to stay home all by myself. I would have stowed you away in my luggage. So you're not mad that we're staying at another hotel? Of course not. I know this trip has been a financial burden for you, so I really do appreciate you being here. Don't mention it. You are my best friend. What do you think about Greg's friends? They are so fun. Corey is hilarious. I couldn't stop laughing when he told that llama story. Well, you know he's single. I don't know if I can keep up with him. Besides, I'm not over Sam yet. Aw, you'll get there. Give it time. Says the girl who is happily engaged. Hey now, we both know I kissed a lot of frogs before I found my Prince Charming. Oh, I know. Greg seems so happy this weekend. He can't keep his hands off of you. He's so adorable, isn't he? And Marilyn, she looks so much like him. A prettier version. You were right. She is really cool. She fits in perfectly with our friends. I'm glad you like her. I think she is going to fly in for the wedding shower, too. Awesome. Has she gotten her bridesmaid dress yet? No, not yet. I'm planning to take her to the wedding shop that weekend. Good idea. So what's the plan for tonight? I think we're going to get sushi for dinner and go dancing afterwards. Where are we meeting? I actually don't know. I'll text Greg. Okay. Finish your margarita so we can go find the other girls. Finished. Let's go.